I'm going to be using the Youth to Gold method to try and win a European trophy with Como. But don't worry, I can see the questions already. Why Como? What is the Youth to Gold method? Well, let's get into it. Well, Como are in Serie A for the first time in over 20 years, under a new exciting ownership featuring the likes of Thierry Henry, Dennis Wise and Cesc Fabregas. The Spaniard himself has become manager and guided the team to the first division of Italian football, with aims to go even higher in what is considered by many as the most beautiful football club in the world, sitting on the lovely Lake Como. But Cesc Fabregas is going out, I'm stepping in, and I'm giving myself 5 years to try and take this beautiful club to European glory, and we're going to use Youth to Gold to do it. And the rules of Youth to Gold are simple. I can only sign players aged 20 or under, and I've got to get rid of any player over the age of 30. And I chose Como for this one because it's a nice story to try and take them to Serie A glory, but already they've started to build their own squad of Wonderkids. The likes of Assane Diao, Nico Paz and Maxime Perron are all in their squad, and we're going to try and continue the spree of buying Wonderkids and taking this club hopefully all the way to the top. Shout out to Omega Luke of course for popularising the idea of Youth to Gold, which we're going to use today, and with that being said, it's time to get stuck in. Now, despite being newly promoted to Serie A, Como aren't expected to go down. In fact, the Game Football Manager has them predicted to finish in 14th place, and we've got some decent facilities to work with, but they're going to need some work over time, and hopefully as we bring money into the club selling on these Wonderkids, we can start upgrading them and developing Wonderkids of our own. Now, despite being founded over 100 years ago, Como aren't exactly blessed with trophies, with some lower division titles to their name, but nothing else. But of course, I'm going to be the one to change that. Sorry Cesc, I'm in charge now, and we've actually got some great players in this squad already that could go right to the very top. 18-year-old Spaniard Assane Diao looks incredible, whilst former Real Madrid man Nico Paz has been a revelation this year, and recent striker signing Ivan Azon is a brilliant option up top. But Como have kind of gone to one extreme or the other in their recruitment. Either they signed Wonderkids like that, or they signed some pretty old players you've probably forgotten about. Their goalkeeper is Pepe Reina, former Barca man Sergio Roberto is one of our best, and on the other flank we've got former Liverpool man Alberto Moreno. So you could see why I've picked Como. They've got a great set of players already to build on, with also a lot of older heads I'm going to try and move on as quickly as possible. And obviously, to do all that, we're going to have to make some transfers. But we're not exactly blessed with a huge budget. I mean, based on the transfers they've already done, Como have left me with £0 in the wages and only 850k of transfer budget. So if I'm going to bring any players in, I'm going to have to move some on. So let's see what I can do in the Season 1 transfer window. And I can't lie, trying to do Youth to Gold when you've got a budget of about 800k is pretty tough, but I have managed to move some players on and bring in one Wonderkid for the future. Now, I know very little about the Como squad, you guys might also, but let's just run through who we did sell. Alberto Seri is a 28-year-old Italian striker who we've sold to Lens for 300k. And I've also moved on 23-year-old Frenchman Lucas de Cunha to go and play for Angers out in France for a fee of 650,000, rising to nearly £1 million. And after wiggling some money about, I'm selling those players, I was able to bring in one player for the future. Granted, I'm hoping future seasons transfer windows will bring us a lot more budget to buy a bunch more Wonderkids, because right now, we're not exactly able to do much. But at least I was able to bolster our defence with the signing of Australian 20-year-old Alessandro Cesati, who we have bought in for 3.5 million from Parma. And for those of you that are going to say it, yes, I know normally in Youth to Gold you can only sign teenagers, but I'm bolstering my age range in this save to 20. Next time, if you want to see 19 and under, let me know. But for now, we are signing 20-year-olds, and Cesati was the first name through the door. And he is actually expected to walk straight into our best 11 in a tactic that I'm hoping is going to work for us, as I'm playing a 4-2-4, which is a little bit attacking, but hopefully brings the best out of our many players. Now, whilst we have covered most of our best players, there's a few that make our best 11 we haven't yet spoken about. Alberto De Senna is the first, an Italian centre-back, aged 25, 25, who should be a big player, as should Maxence Coqueret, a brilliant midfield option from the French divisions. We've got Maxime Perron on loan from Manchester City, and former FIFA star Jonathan Ikone, the 26-year-old Frenchman, is our best right winger, with Belotti up top. Remember him, I mean, he was a great forward in Football Manager a few years back. And then our other best striker, supposedly, is going to be this guy, Tasko Duvikias. Anyone know him? I don't. He's a Greek forward with 1 goal in 15 international appearances, although he doesn't look half bad, so maybe he'll be a good option for us in our 2-man striker formation. Will I stick to this tactic the whole time? I'm not so sure, but we're going to be brave. We're going to try and play some expansive football. Our team is ready to go, and I'm hoping in Season 1 we can at least avoid relegation. And whenever I do these rebuilds, the first season is always the one you want to get out of the way. You just want to survive so you can actually get some transfer budget and start making the team your own. And actually in Season 1, I think we did a little bit better than just survive. Granted, we did struggle in a few games, like when we lost 5-1 to Inter and 3-0 to Lazio, but we did also manage to get some great results, like when we stuck 5 past Antonio Conte's Napoli side to beat them, and when we put Parma to the sword too, beating them 4-0. So it was a little bit hit and miss, and whilst it certainly wasn't the most exciting first season of all times, it's a good foundation to build on. Our team ended up finishing in 13th place, which was 11 points clear of relegation, Lecce, Cagliari and Udinese all going down, but with 46 points and -1 goal difference, it was not the worst first year. 16 losses, 10 draws, 12 wins, not amazing, but certainly something we can work with. And there was a few key standout players for us this year, like Jonathan Ikone, who will be going back to Fiorentina after his loan, but he was great on the wing for us, and Andrea Belotti managed to score 17, whilst Duvikas, the Greek striker that we looked at earlier, managed to bag 13 himself. So actually, he's done pretty well and made a strong case for that first 11. But other than that, yes, some of our youngsters did well, like Asan Diao, he's now wanting a new contract, and there was also some good performances from a Brazilian winger called Strefeza, who we have at the team as well. He managed to get 7 assists and 2 goals in Serie A this year. So there's some players we can take note of, but realistically, it's time for change. We're going to bring in a bunch of new Wonderkids and hopefully sell on a lot of the older players in the squad too as we try to lower the age. The only issue is we've been given £1 million and we've got negative wage budget. Like, we stayed up in Serie A. I know there's not that much money in Italian football right now, but surely we can do better than that. I'm going to have to do some real good transfer work in Season 2 if we're going to sign anybody of note. And so it begins. In Season 2, we have done the exact thing you want to see from Youth to Gold. We have signed a bunch of brilliant Wonderkids and sold on a lot of our older heads, some of them for quite a lot of money. If you're still watching the video at this point though, you must be at least half enjoying it or you fell asleep. Either way, if you are awake and watching, if you could smash the like button for me, it would mean a lot and really would help the videos. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We're on the road to 50k subs and we do weekly rebuilds like this, so hit that button, comment down below what team you want to see next. And with that being said, let's start with the players we sold. We'll start off with the names that I don't really know and move on to the bigger players. Firstly, Marlon Mustafa. Again, I don't really know this guy, but we sold him to Mainz for a fee of 300k, having been loaned out to the Bundesliga 2 last year. Another loanee that we've sold on is Jean-Pierre Nassame, a 32-year-old Cameroonian, the first over 30 player that we sell as he goes to Young Boys in Switzerland for 1.3 mil. Another forgotten name of Italian football, Patrick Cutrone. We have sold him at age 27 for 2.1 million to Montpellier. The former Wolves man scored 2 goals for us last year, so it wasn't exactly crucial. But another over 30 out the door was Alberto Moreno, our star left back, but playing by the rules, we need to get rid of as many of these older players as we can, so we have sold him on for 2.6 million to Al Thai in Saudi Arabia. And remember that club, because they also bought Sergio Roberto offers as well. Our right back has also left now, age 33, he moves on for 3.7 million, rising to 4.5. And the Saudi club didn't stop because they signed Belotti offers next, our top goal scorer last season, moving for 10 million. So as sad as it was to lose our star striker, we couldn't really reject that kind of money. And a side note as well, not a sale but a loan out. Nico Paz, maybe not rated as well in FM as he has done in real life, meant that he didn't get much game time last year, so I'm loaning him out to Argentina to continue his development. But now with the sales and the loans all done, we can get in to the new Wonderkids that have signed for this team. But if you want to play with these Wonderkids yourself and play this save, you can find it over on my Patreon, which is linked linked in the description. Now, to be honest, it's the best way to support me as a creator. It obviously helps me financially, pay for an editor, a thumbnail designer, and means I can do this as a job basically, which is obviously awesome. So thank you to you guys that are already over there. If you want to check it out, if you haven't yet, yes, you get the save files that I just mentioned, but you also get to watch the rebuilds early, ad-free of course, over on Patreon. You get to see exclusive content over there and vote for what rebuilds you want to see next in the rebuild polls. So I try and make it as useful as I can for you guys. It's a massive help to me, so thank you to anyone who checks it out. But let's go and see who we signed. The first of 4 names that we brought in was Jason van Duijven, the 20-year-old Dutch forward, a brilliant young player who was at Lommel, formerly at PSV Eindhoven, and we paid £4 million for him after a good year out in Belgium, and he's going to come in as one of our strikers. Now, side note, Jason van Duijven is a player that I made a video on another channel, FM Scout, if you know me from there. I did a video highlighting him about 4 years ago, and he actually contacted me on Instagram to say that he'd watched it, so there you go. This is a player that technically I've had some contact with. But I didn't stop with the young strikers. I wanted some players we can build around for the future, and I have signed an Italian which will fit nicely at Como, with Nicola Tresoldi coming back from German football. 4.1 million from Hanover, where he scored 11 goals in the Bundesliga too at only age 20. I'm hoping he can do big things in Serie A. Speaking of Italians, we have another one coming in here, and before anyone says it, yes, he is 21, but his birthday was on the 27th of July, and we signed him before that, a few days before, so we got lucky. He was 20 when we signed him, but Sherendor is a new midfielder. If you don't know, this is a PSG player that's already been at Benfica, Atalanta, and Fiorentina, as well as Besiktas apparently here. So he's been around the block. We paid £6 million for him, and I'm hoping he'll find a home here. And then finally, I felt like our defence needed a big improvement, so I've gone out and signed 20-year-old Alan Machoro, a Uruguayan fullback, also a centre-back, who we signed for 9.5 million from Genoa, and he has got big ability right now, but also huge potential. Now, in terms of the squad as a whole, we've only got 3 players left that are over 30 years of age, so hopefully we'll be able to move them on in the near future. But what's great to see is all the potential we have in this team, all the Wonderkids that we've signed, as you can see if we go by age, lots of very good young players that we're hoping we can develop into top talents in this Youth to Gold method, and actually our best 11 features many of them. A few new faces coming into the team, like Adoro in goal, who comes in to replace Pepe Reina. We've got Cassandro, who is a right back, 25 years of age, who spent last season out on loan in Serie B. We see Kempf come into the defence as well, the 30-year-old German defender. But one player that I really want to focus on is Samuel Ballet, who was out on loan last year with Zurich out in Switzerland, but actually, I think he's a really good option, and even though he had some interest to move away, I've decided to keep him, and I'm hoping this year Ballet is going to be able to dance around the fences and get us some goals. Now, despite a 14th place prediction last season, the game clearly doesn't rate what we're doing with this Youth to Gold method, or at least they don't see the potential, because they've got us predicted 17th now. They reckon we've got worse, and we're only just going to avoid relegation according to the game, but we're going to try and prove them wrong. I think we've signed a bunch of great Wonderkids, and I'm hoping they'll be good enough to take us to European football. And I can't lie, in Season 2, I think we've done a pretty good job here at Como. Now, granted, I'm not a World Cup winning Spanish central midfielder who's played for Chelsea, Arsenal and Barcelona, but I'm sorry, Cesc, I think as a manager, I might be beating him. Because under our guidance, our team shone this year, including a 3-0 win against Juventus, a 4-3 win against Roma, and on a cold, snowy night, we stuck 6 past Venezia. So, before the start of this season, the game said, oh, you're going to get relegated, you've signed too many youngsters, and we certainly proved them wrong. Because we finished in 7th place, 65 points, a big improvement from last year, 37 goal difference, 20 wins, 13 losses, only 5 draws, and only 4 points away from Juve, meaning next season we're going to be playing Conference League football. Top goal scorer in the division as well was Nicola Tresoldi, who at age 21 made his homecoming to Italy with a great season, 25 goals in the league alone, and he wasn't the only one that was performing at a high level, because Duvikas, the Greek forward, managed to turn up and score 20 goals himself in all comps, 19 in the league, and played amazingly well as part of that front two. And it wasn't just them either. I mean, Samuel Ballet, who we looked at earlier, scored 7, Hassan Diao scored 8, and now has plenty of interest from some of the world's biggest clubs, so that is going to be a transfer story for next summer, I'm sure. Jason van Duijven came in and scored 6, mainly off the bench, but he did manage to put in a shift for us, and all in all, I think we're on the way up here. Our youngsters are doing well, those middle-aged players are doing good too, and we're not so reliant on those older players. I mean, Mark-Oliver Kempf did have a good year, but I mean, he's only got a year left on his contract. I'm probably not going to extend it, and that'll be another older player out the door too. In the meantime as well, I have been upgrading the facilities at the club, and I'm hoping that's going to lead to a lot of Wonderkids coming out our own academy as well, and developing some of these stars, because, I mean, we're signing all these Wonderkids, they need the coaching and the facilities to actually reach their potential, and we're trying to make the club able to do that. But I'm sorry, Thierry Henry, you need to pull your money out your pocket, because after 2 great seasons and now securing European football here at Como, he's only given me £4 million to spend, and that's not even enough for one Wonderkid. So we might have to sell some more of our best players if we want to fund the incoming of some more young talents. Okay, Youth to Gold as a method can be really successful. I mean, buying these Wonderkids mean that you can develop some of the best talents in the world. It's just gutting when some of your best young players get snatched up by clubs bigger than you because we're not able to hang on to them. And that happened this season. Our first real world-class Wonderkid, someone that I think could play for any team in the world, Assane Diao, has left us. He's valued at 81 million at Bayern. We didn't quite get that much because unfortunately there was a release clause in his contract. He's ended up moving for 45 million quid, which is actually not a bad deal at all. It's a lot of money for our club. It's obviously something that we can use to massively reinvest and actually have some transfer budget, Thierry. Still not giving me any money, but still, it's a big loss. Assane Diao, it is the one issue with doing Youth to Gold. You develop these top young talents, clubs are eventually going to want to sign them, and we lose Diao to Bayern, and that left a big hole in our squad to fill, but also a lot of cash to spend. Now, thinking ahead for the future, I've decided to buy a player that obviously isn't going to play for us right now, but may eventually be our backup goalkeeper, and obviously when you're trying to sign players under the age of 20, finding goalkeepers is pretty hard. So Alessandro Nunciante is our new backup keeper. He signs from Benevento in Serie C, where he has been playing for 210k. Look, it's not really anything to note, but he is at the club and who knows what he'll become. He's got competition though, because we have a new number 1 between the sticks, one for the future. Dennis Simon is our new young star. The 20-year-old keeper signs from Stuttgart out in Germany, where he has been playing first team football for 9.5 million. It's a lot of money. It's 10 million of the 44 we made from Diao, but hopefully it means we won't have to sign a keeper again in this whole rebuild. Our scouts did really well though, finding a player out at Bologna by the name of Ossian Nordval. He's a Swedish 19-year-old player who we've signed for 2 million quid, having only just really broke into their first team. He's really well rounded physically and mentally, and as a midfield option, he could go right to the very top, and I've never actually heard of him before, so credit to our scouts. We need them to find Wonderkids, and they have found a brilliant one here. But here we go, we have got a proper star coming in. We lost Assane Diao, we needed a new star winger, and Matthias Lambord was available. This Frenchman is unreal in Football Manager when he develops right, and we'll be hoping we get a good version of him here in this save. He can play up front or on the wing. We spent 18 million pounds on him from Hellas Verona. He's already been playing Serie A football and not doing very well, but maybe he just needs a little bit of that Como magic. Late Como behind him, looking out at the pretty views from Como. I think maybe that will sort him out, and hopefully that will lead to him being one of our best players. Fingers crossed he's going to be, for the amount of money we've spent. And we're now down to only 2 30-year-olds in this squad. Mark-Oliver Kempf is one, as mentioned though. His contract's up at the end of this season, so we won't be hanging on to him, I can't imagine. And obviously we've got Luca Mazziotelli, who is a player I haven't really covered, but he is a very good midfield option, who once again, I'm going to let him go at the end of his contract. We're not really getting any interest from him, but he is at the club for now. Either way though, I think we can be very happy with the fact that we have made a very good young team here, and we are focusing on youngsters. So yes, technically, I know we need to get rid of players over 30. We're doing it just a little bit slowly. But our best 11 now is just full of some top young stars for the future. I mean, Machoro had a really good first year at the club and is one of our best defenders now. Obviously, we have Lambord in the team, Tresoldi as well, and Jason Van Duyven will be competing with our Greek forward for that starting spot. I think young Australian Sasati, who he signed in Season 1 as well, is ready to make that step into the first team. There is a space for him in that defence, but this team, I think, is a very good one, and I think actually could compete in the top levels of Serie A now. The game, though, seems to still think we're only going to finish mid-table. 12th place prediction. Obviously, this year, we're playing European football for the first time, and on our pretty small squad, that might be a challenge, but either way, we're going to give it our best shot. And I've got to say, Season 3 has been an interesting one. I'll be honest now and tell you that in the league, we have regressed a little bit. We've not done as well as we did in previous seasons. In fact, points-wise, we're quite a way off. But that was balanced out with the fact that this year, we were playing European football in the Conference League. And as far as this competition goes, we were actually a strong candidate to win it, and we made it all the way to the semi-final where we faced off against Bruges, drew 2-2 away, but at home we went 1-0 up for a brilliant Kakare strike. But unfortunately, a mistake led to them pouncing on an error, and Biliquisha got in behind and managed to level the game, and that stayed that way until the 94th minute. It could swing either way for a place in the final, both teams were going for the win, but late on, we played a ball into Lambourd, into Jason Van Duyven, and he powered home to carry us to a Conference League final. The only issue is, as much as we were kind of favourites for this, there was one clear favourite in the whole competition, and that's who we had to face in Newcastle. But we were unreal in this game, and we managed to win a penalty in the 64th minute to go 1-0 up through our Greek forward. And my god, did we cling on to that lead. Alexander Isak was missing chance after chance, and late on, we scored a second from the corner, and even though the English clubs would be expected to win the Conference League, we managed to beat Newcastle and secure our first trophy of this rebuild. Now, I know some people are going to say it's just the Conference League, but as a Chelsea fan, I've came to quite like the competition. It might be one that we're actually able to win this year. Hopefully, in a few months' time when someone watches this, we did actually win the competition. But either way, we've got a trophy under our belt. Jumping back to the league though, that's where the disappointment was. I mentioned we were a bit far off where we were last season, and actually, we finished outside of a European spot. Empoli did better than us, and we finished in 9th place with 13 wins, 15 goal difference, 57 points. It was a much worse year for us by a long distance, but we're now playing better European football in the Europa League, so I guess it kind of balances out. That Conference League win did save the season, and it's AC Milan who go and win the title ahead of Inter. But what I love seeing is our Wonderkids being our best players in the team. I mean, Jason Van Duyven was exceptional with 18 goals, and Dovikas, the Greek forward, he was great too. Not a Wonderkid, but this man is scoring goal after goal and might be one of my new favourite players in FM. Nordval was brilliant in his first year, really stepping into the first team earlier than I thought he would. Simon started getting some football towards the end of the season, and Lambourd managed to score 12 in his first year, whilst Tresoldi hit 13. So we are getting goals from everywhere. The young defenders as well are doing well, like Machoro, who is now wanted by Atalanta, and Alfate, so we'll try and hold on to him. But we head in to Season 4 now, 2 seasons to go, with a budget of, drumroll, what's Thierry giving me? £1 million. Honestly, how am I meant to do anything in this rebuild with this kind of stingy budget? So either way, we'll try and make it work. We'll probably have to sell on more of our Wonderkids to make this happen. Youth to Gold isn't as easy as I thought it would be. Now, despite the low budgets that Thierry Henry and co were giving me, I did manage to wheel and deal some proper good business in this window. 30 million out, 30 million spent, a new look squad. But before we see it, this is the last time I'll ask you, if you are still watching at this point, if you aren't asleep somehow, if you could smash the like button, it really does help the videos. It's the last time I'll ask, don't shoot me. Let's get back to it. Firstly, out the door, Emil Aldoro has left to go and join Roma. With Dennis Simon developing, it was time to move him on, so he leaves for 1.5 mil. Gabriel Stravaza has been a very good option for us off the bench over the last couple of years, but he's now moved to Montpellier for 1.5 million after appearing 30 times last year and only scoring once. Two big sales though saw two of our more older statesmen of the squad leaving. Alberto Da Segna has gone to play for Napoli. He has been unreal in this save. No idea where he came from. It looks like Como bought him from Cagliari. In this save though, he has been excellent and an unreal defender. He moves on for 15 million, rising to 19. Good luck to him, but we had to accept that deal. And unfortunately, it's the end of an era for another one of our players. Tazos Dovikas, the Greek forward, who was unreal for us across the course of this save so far, has now attracted the interest of Alweda for 15 million. He's getting himself a 50 grand a week contract. He'll enjoy that. We enjoyed his goals, and now we enjoy the money to reinvest in some new players. And strap in, because there's a lot of players coming in, mainly new gens, of course, at this stage now of this save. We signed Øyvind Thew, who is a Danish under-21 international, 17 years of age on a free, and we've loaned him out for the year to keep developing. 1.5 million was spent on our hopefully future left-back David Neri, an 18-year-old who we bring in from Bologna, who the game reckons could have a big future. 1.9 million went on a new young fullback. 18-year-old Vanjir Gale has signed. The young Croatian comes in from Lokomotiva out in Croatia, of course, for 1.9 million, which isn't a bad deal actually for what we're getting and the potential he has. Speaking of Croatians, another 19-year-old joins us in the form of Ilan Strabic, who is a player that we've bought in from Rijeka out in Croatia for 2.5 mil. There's a Mexican on board as well as we sign, and I'm going to butcher this name, Hiawatha Villazon, which is just an unreal name for a striker to have. 18-year-old Mexican international already, who we signed from Club America for 4 mil, rising to 4.5. What a player this one is though. Argentinian 18-year-old Alejandro Nunez is a brilliant option on the right wing. Pace, agility, this guy is going to tear it up with his dribbling and his flair. We signed him with huge potential from San Lorenzo for 6.7 mil. But I felt our defence needed an improvement too, so I spent 7 mil on this guy, Inaki Sands, who doesn't look great yet, but our scouts were raving about him. He was the top option on our scout report, so I thought, you know what, let's trust the potential he has. Comes in from Alaves on a release clause fee, where he's already apparently played La Liga football. But speaking of La Liga, coming in from Villarreal is our new star defender, Cristobal, who is an 18-year-old under-21 Spanish international, signing for 11 million quid. Again, another release clause deal for a brilliant option at the back, who can pass the ball very well, 14 passing, 15 technique, 12 vision, the ultimate ball-playing defender, with a brilliant haircut as well. This guy will hopefully be the leader in our defence. Squad-wise, we are nearly there. There is only one over 30 player left, and his contract runs out at the end of this coming season, and he is declining, so we won't be extending that. Other than that, though, if we look at the age of the squad, loads of great youngsters now. It is a very young super team, all with a load of potential. I'm just hoping some of them hit it. Now, our best 11 is full of Wonderkids: Simon, Cesati, Cristobal, Machoro, Nordval, Lambord, Van Duyven, Tresoldi, amongst some other very good players like Cacre, and of course our man Ballet on the wing, who isn't quite in his last dance yet at 26 years of age. But we are ready to go for our 4th season now. After this, there's only going to be one left. We're playing Europa League football. The game still predicts us to finish 12th. They do not rate our youngsters at all, but we know we can prove that wrong. We're now Conference League winners. We've got a trophy, and hopefully coming up next is the Serie A title. And after a bit of a wobble last year, I feel like we're way back on track with this Como team. We had a good year both in Europe and in the league, so let's start with our European competition. We made the knockout playoff round in the Europa League, coming up against Bodo Glimt, and we managed to dispatch them 7-1 on aggregate. But unfortunately, we got a tough draw in the next leg. The round of 16 saw us come against Bayer Leverkusen. We gave it a great shot, but we ended up losing 4-3. So our first time in the Europa League, we made the round of 16, gave ourselves a good show, but we're not quite ready for that level yet. Although saying that, we'll be playing Europa League football again next year as we finish 6th in the league table, 74 points, 10 losses, 5 draws, and 27 goal difference, only 3 points away from a Champions League place. Obviously, it looks like then in this rebuild in 5 years, we're not going to get Champions League football. So if you do continue to save on Patreon, let me know how you got on. Maybe you can do better than me and achieve that Champions League. But it won't be happening in this save at least. Our best aim will either be a Europa League or a Serie A title, as Atalanta won it this year, so clearly there is space for a team to get there. We were actually only 7 points off, if my maths is correct, from winning the title, so it was a very close season. 6 teams in it who could have won that trophy, but overall it was a better year, and coincidentally that coincided with more goals coming from some of our best players. I mean, we saw Alejandro Nunez score 11 goals. Ali Yassim, an Iraqi Wonderkid that we had at the start of this save, has been developing nicely, and he's performed pretty well off the bench when called upon. Tresoldi with 27, Lambord with 17, Ballet with 13, what a little dancer he is, and an 8 from Van Duyven as well, who might not have scored many, but has been seen as one of our best players, being that real good forward player in that complete forward role, supporting Tresoldi and helping him score so many. Villazon came in and scored 5. Great to see the new youngsters coming in and performing in the team and developing a lot too. A lot of those new guys that we signed doing a great job for us. But that leaves us now with 1 season to go. We go with a transfer budget of, come on, give us something, Thierry, 2 mil. 2 million, man. I mean, what more can we do? This guy is not giving us any money at all. Granted, they've been investing a lot of the money on the facilities at the club with really good youth recruitment now. We're getting some good players come through in our youth academy that we'll take a look at. Marco Guerrera probably would come in as one of our best centre-backs, and Alessandro Di Lorenzo is also a good youngster that we've got coming alongside many others in our under-18. So the future's looking bright. Como is on the way up with 1 year left and only a Conference League to our name. If we really want to make this a success, I think we need a Scudetto. And you think by this point in Season 5 our team might be complete and we can just take it easy and let the Wonderkids come good? No, in these kind of saves, you always have to be wheeling and dealing, and we have brought in 3 top players for our side. Leaving first though, it's time to say goodbye to a player we only signed last year in Inaki Sands, who was a youngster that you might remember we bought for 7 mil, played a few times, but is now not even considered our 6th best centre-back. So despite the potential he has, I've sold him on for Chelsea for a profit, because there was a lot of interest in the kid. But the big sale, and a really sad departure actually, is Maxon Kokore, who now gets 500 grand a week out Ali. You cannot reject that, and I could see why he wanted to leave when the offer came in. He managed to net us £33 million, which is not bad at all, and whilst he was never really the star of the team, he was the guy holding it all together, the experienced head, making sure those kids were playing well. He was our leader, our captain. A shame to lose him, but we've got to move on. And don't you worry, because we certainly did. This is the worst of the 3 signings that we made, and that's saying something, because this is a Wonderkid fullback who could go to the very top. 19-year-old Colombian international Faber Ferrero, what a name that is. A pacey £1.5 million man from Independiente Santa Fe. What a bargain that is for a guy who's got amazing physical attributes and could be one of the best left backs in the world. We then spent £5 million on our new star centre back Nicolas Lucero. So yes, we did lose our youngster that we sold to Chelsea, but it was because we signed this guy from Estudiantes for 5.5 million, and he started the season well. But here comes the master signing, the one that I think will take us to glory. 19-year-old Solomon Kibidi, who was an Ethiopian French under-21 international, our number 7. Honestly, one of the best Wonderkids I've ever seen in Football Manager at this age. With the attributes he's got in that number 10 spot, I think he will be a Ballon d'Or winner. That's how good I think this kid is. We have signed him from Ligue 2 side Toulouse, where he scored 20 goals and assisted 10 at only the age of 19. We've paid £10 million for him, rising to 11. What a bargain. How did we get it? I don't know, but he is now in, and because he can only play number 10, I'm going to shift the formation to get the best out of him. So I'm shifting to a 4-2-3-1 formation, which I know is probably a little bit more structured than what we were using as well. Now we've got better players, I think it makes sense. We were conceding far too many, and this team actually could have a chance of winning the league if we weren't so gung-ho and just going for goals all the time. So we're trying to control the game a bit more now with the talent we have. Dennis Simon is an unreal goalkeeper now, one of the world's best at only 22. We see Lucero in the defence alongside Machoro and Faber Ferrero. So yeah, a lot of our new players making it straight into our best 11. Lambord, Ballet, Van Duyven, Cabede. This team is unreal. Even the likes of Nico Paz are on the bench. Still a good young player that we have. Cristobal, of course, as well, is someone that will be competing for those first team minutes. He's developed nicely, as has Ivan Azon, and we've even promoted those youngsters that we mentioned earlier. Marco Guerrero comes in from the youth academy of Como into our first team in Serie A. Now, we are predicted this season, having already started pretty well with 2 wins in 2, to finish 10th place. They really aren't rating us at all, and I think we've got some great players. In fact, Cabede is considered one of the best in the league already at only 19, so I've got faith. I feel like we're going to do well this season, our last one. Let's go for it. Let's try and win the league title. And my God, if you want drama, this rebuild is the one, because this last season, season 5, where it's all on the line, everything you can imagine has happened. But let's get in firstly to our Europa League campaign, where we had a great run, managing to beat the likes of Besiktas and making it to a semi-final against our first real test though in Brighton, who have got way better in this save, and they managed to not just score 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 goals as they absolutely demolished us and knocked us out 6-1. But hey, it's a Europa League semi-final, not a competition we ever would have expected to get this far in only 5 years as Como manager. So I feel like we've done a pretty good job here, but I've got to say that was not our priority this season, because we actually found ourselves in a title race in Serie A. And with 2 games to go, the opportunity arose for us to rise to the top of the table if we could beat Venezia. We went 1-0 up there, and we managed to seal the deal in a very empty Venezia stadium as Lambord headed home to make it 2, and that put us in the driving seat on the last day of the season. In fact, we were 3 points ahead of the second place team, meaning all we needed was a point in our last game to win the title. And at home to relegation threatened Udinese, I thought we would have a chance, but I mean, they were horrible. They played a back 3 with 4 men in front of them, and it took ages to break them down as we eventually scored to make it 1. But their game plan of trying to shut us out and hitting us on the break seemed to work, as Lorenzo Luca, the giant that he is, scored a header to make it 1-1. With 30 minutes to go, we had to score to win the title, and we conceded to go 2-1 down. Now after that Luka free kick, it meant we weren't going to be winning the league. The second place team had secured their victory, and it meant that right now we were going to finish in second place. All we needed was a draw, but with only 1 minute added on of the 90, it didn't look likely. At this point, by the way, what you're seeing, Udinese going forward, there is 90 minutes and 55 seconds played of this game. So the ref could have blown his whistle here, but he let us play on, and Nordval managed to find our right winger running in. Nunez found some space, Tresoldi ran across, and with 91 minutes on the clock he scored, and that meant we had secured the draw and the point we needed to win the Serie A title. And my god was it close, because not only did Juve finish 1 point away from us, AC Milan and Atalanta were only 3 points away from the title in what was a very good year. We got 87 points. You would assume no one would be close, but they were, and it was thanks to Jason Van Duyven this year, who suddenly decided, you know what, I'm going to remember how to score again. Scored 5 last year, scored 20 this season, gave up the assisting, and just went all the way for scoring goals. He guided us to a title, and my god was this one close. I mean, we did eventually win the Scudetto, and for those of you that think, oh, you know, of course you're going to win it in Season 5. Trust me, in so many rebuilds, we fall at the final hurdle. So to see that goal go in, oh, it was brilliant. I mean, 26 from Lambord in his real breakout season. We won't be keeping hold of him, I don't think, for anyone that continues to save. Arsenal, AC Milan want the Frenchman. You can see why. He's an international now for his country as well. Samuel Ballet scored 15. We saw Dennis Simon do well, as well as Solomon Kabede, who in his first year tore up Serie A, and he has a bright future ahead of him. Plenty of great performers outside of that. Tresoldi, Nordval, Faber Ferrero as well. And if we now have a look at the club, we have got amazing facilities, and some of the best youngsters in the country are now coming through here at Como. We've got a 4-star reputation. Financially, there's still not much money in the balance, but we have managed to clear most of the debt. And finally, Thierry Henry gives me some money after we decide we're done with managing the club. So that's a little bit annoying, but we've made it work. If we look at the club as well, we are now in the favoured personnel. And the only other familiar name is Tresoldi, who is going down as an icon of the club, having secured that final second winner to win us the league title. So there's a Como rebuild done using the youth to gold method. No 30 plus players left, all signing youngsters 20 or under. Let me know what rebuild you want to see next and what twist you want us to do. Do you want us to buy only free agents? Do you want us to buy only old players? Let us know what you want to see. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.